A passenger at a US airport is patted down. Sensible security or a physical assault?
And they shouldn't be allowed to go to third base to view or to touch your private parts without a reason.
Also coming up, the campaign to clean up Britain's hotels. Carmen's back with everything today's traveller needs from the World Wide Web. And why Cambodia's children are dancing to a new tune as the arts take centre stage in Phnom Penh.
Welcome to Fast Track. Now, when you go through an airport like this, John F. Kennedy in New York, security procedures involve going through a full body scanner. It's cutting-edge technology, but because it allows staff to examine a naked image of a passenger, some people find it too intrusive and refuse to do it. That's when they're subjected to what authorities here call an enhanced pat-down.
You can't touch this. Touch this. You can't touch this.
I proceeded down the ramp to the airplane and was already by that time in tears. It was just, it was compounded with stress and all that was going on. But ultimately, it just felt like I was sexually assaulted.
Nancy Campbell had been rushing to board an early morning flight to Washington from New York's LaGuardia Airport when she was selected for a check at the gate by a female official from the US Transportation Security Administration, or TSA.
She proceeded to ask me to just spread my arms and my legs, and so she was going to do a check. And she explained that she would check me from the outside of my arms and the outside of my legs first, and then proceed inside of my legs and my arms. But what I wasn't prepared for was her full examination of my breast first. And when she got through that, that's when I asked her to stop, that I had had enough.
You can't touch this.
But Nancy was told that either she allowed the search to go on or she wouldn't be able to fly. As she was on an important business trip, Nancy felt she had little choice but to agree.
In the end, she went through and basically touched my both like the insides of my legs, but basically touching my crotch and my buttocks. All the time not offering me an alternative. I really kind of felt like at the end of the process that she kind of knew where she had me.
How does it feel to treat me like you do?
Nancy filed a complaint about her treatment with the TSA. She's far from being a lone voice in the storm which has been created by their new security measures, which include more thorough friskings since they were introduced at American airports last autumn.
How do I feel?
But it's a human interaction which continues to leave some people, like former Miss USA, who was patted down after refusing a full body scan in Dallas, furious, distressed, or both.
I'm crying because I'm just really, really upset that as an American, I have to go through this. And I do feel violated. I didn't think that I would when I had to opt out of the machine, but I completely feel violated.
You can't touch this.
And the enhanced pat-down stories just keep on coming, making it a red-hot issue with American travellers.
When you see a little girl getting patted down on video, they don't like that. People do not like that. You know, when they see a 95-year-old woman who had her diaper inspected, they're not going to like that, and understandably so. Again, if you look at it from the perspective of the TSA, they have to inspect everybody. They have to pat down everybody. So what are you going to do?
We asked the US Transport Security Administration to take part in this program. They declined to be interviewed, but they did send us this statement.
Pat-downs are an important tool to help the TSA detect hidden and dangerous items, such as improvised explosive devices. Only a small percentage of passengers require pat-downs during the security screening process. Pat-downs are conducted by same-gender officers, and all passengers have the right to request private screening at any time. What can be done to maintain security and yet improve the passenger experience at the airport? It's something the International Air Transport Association, which represents 230 airlines, has been grappling with.
Our passengers should be able to get from curb to gate with dignity, without stopping, without stripping, without unpacking, and certainly without grouping.
What IATA's come up with is a 3-lane checkpoint. 1 lane for what are called known travellers, those who've already registered and completed background checks with government authorities, a normal lane for the majority of travellers, and elevated risk, where those passengers about whom less information is available would be subjected to additional screening. But until the checkpoint of the future becomes a reality, the checkpoint of today continues to bother American voters, and as a result, politicians across the US are looking closely at the pat-down issue. In May, Texas state lawmakers tried to pursue legislation which would make intentional, inappropriate touching an offence punishable by up to a year in jail. State Representative David Simpson was firmly behind the bill.
If there's probable cause, certainly we would allow those searches, but to treat everyone as criminals is just wrong. And so we filed the bill to protect people's dignity, their privacy, their liberty to travel and to access public transportation.
The reaction from the Federal Department of Justice was clear. They threatened that if Texas passed the bill, planes would no longer be allowed to land in the state. The bill subsequently failed, but David Simpson is determined to keep up the pressure.
The government shouldn't be allowed to go to third base without a reason. It dehumanizes, it treats us as cattle, and it sends a very wrong message.
You can't touch this.
Nancy Campbell, too, thinks that enhanced pat-downs could prove counterproductive.
But there's a whole encouragement from government to help them to have eyes on the ground, to help make our country safer. So if the government abuses authority towards its citizens, how am I going to be encouraged to help you further? Are we all going to feel like we're one big team? I mean, right now I feel accosted. I feel randomly plucked and embarrassed and sort of abused.
You can't touch this.
So what do you think? We'd love to hear your thoughts on this issue. Are enhanced pat-downs a security step too far, or is it better safe than sorry? Do let us know at our usual address, fasttracktravel@bbc.co.uk. And many of you wrote in about our recent programme about staying logged into work when you're on holiday.
Jennifer Edens just finished a holiday in the Maldives, where she said,
"Apart from a few honeymooning couples, most around me were constantly on their tablets or mobile phones. What happened to the good old days of closing your front door when you left for a holiday and just taking a break?"
And Adriana Schum left a comment on our Facebook page saying,
"On the small Greek island of Symi, where I live and work, we have seen a dramatic change in the last 10 years. From being a place where there was no mobile phone signal and you could tell the boss you were incommunicado with a clear conscience, to high-tech heaven with everyone online all the time."
Or hell, depending on your point of view, no doubt. Eileen from Beijing thinks that hotel chains shouldn't be pandering to the panic over leaving your out-of-office on.
Surely being on call the whole time is not the way forward for businesses. Hotels like the Intercontinental should not be colluding with employers by providing iPads for their guests.
But we'll leave the last word to Muwa from Cape Town, who emailed us from the beach to say that some people just enjoy staying in touch even when they're away.
"I thought it was stress that kept me in contact, but actually I like to have continuous contact with my clients, no matter where I travel."
Now let's have a look at what else is happening in the world of travel this week.
Riots in England have led governments around the world to issue travel warnings, advising people to steer clear of trouble spots and check their insurance policies. The problems came just weeks after the start of the one-year countdown to the London 2012 Olympic Games. Nevertheless, officials say they're confident the venues will all be safe and secure.
I haven't been worried about it at all. I mean, London's an enormous city, and I mean, there's been some problems, but not near where we are, so it hasn't really bothered us.
2 or 3 people at the hotel said not to come, but we came because we were only here for a day. We're going back to the States tomorrow, and so I mean, it seems fine, but people said at night it gets pretty bad, so we're planning to leave early.
It's frightening because even if it's in northern London, it can happen in the town centre at any moment.
Tiger Airways' Australian domestic flights are now back in the air now that a 5-week ban's been lifted. The regulator grounded all 10 of Tiger's aircraft after concerns were raised over pilot training and maintenance. The budget airline will be allowed to fly 18 routes a day and must meet new safety conditions. And people living near the Hollywood sign in Los Angeles say they've had it with tourists driving through their neighbourhoods to reach the iconic photo opportunity. Residents say they're littering the area and making the roads dangerous, so they've painted their own landmark sign, making their views abundantly clear.
Coming up after the break, we boot up the best the web has to offer the tech-savvy traveller and a new rhythm for Cambodia. How the country is hoping to turn itself into a new arts destination.